Alright, welcome to the next video in the SQL playlist. लास्ट वीडियो में हमने देखा कि MySQL में अलग अलग टाइप के डेटा टाइप्स कितने होते हैं और कितने सारे ऐसे डेटा टाइप्स हैं जो हमारे CWC के प्रोजेक्ट में एप्लीकेबल है. सो anything that the database that we will create for CWC will include certain tables and those tables will include certain type of data. तो जो भी डेटा टाइप हम यूज करने वाले वी डिस्कस दैट इन द लास्ट वीडियो. ओके, एंड इन वीडियोस बिफोर दैट हमने देखा कि एक टिपिकल डेटाबेस डिजाइन या एंटिटी रिलेशनशिप डायग्राम कैसे दिखेगा CWC का. So let's quickly revise that before we start looking into the actual data. So right in the center we have the application table, fact application table, because it contains all the transactions and generally things that do not repeat. That's why we are calling it as fact applications. Okay, then we have certain other tables like dimension tables, and one that we quickly want to talk about is dimq. So dimq will contain all the queue names. So consumer existing, post bureau, pre bureau, visa check. All of that information will be in dimension table. Why are we calling it dimension table? क्योंकि dimension dim underscore q table में एक क्यू एक ही बार आएगा. अनलाइक फैक्ट एप्लीकेशन में कंज्यूमर एग्जिस्टिंग बार बार रिपीट होगा. सो हमने क्या देखा था, व्हाई डू वी नीड मल्टीपल टेबल्स. जहां पे भी कोई भी डेटा हम बार बार सेव कर रहे हैं दैट बिकम्स अ पोटेंशियल डिफरेंट टेबल. तो उसका डेटा उठा के अलग टेबल में डाल दो एंड दैट टेबल विल नॉट हैव डुप्लीकेट्स. Example, dim q will only be once in the dim q table. Sorry, q will be mentioned only once in the dim q table. That's why we are calling it as dimension. Dimension tables generally do not have repeated values. Okay. Similarly, we'll go on to dim outcome. So dim outcome again stores all the unique outcomes. कितने outcomes हैं हमारे? Approve, withdraw और decline. All of that will be stored in the dim outcome. Then we have dim store. This is something we did not discuss जब हम Excel में डैशबोर्ड बना रहे थे हमारे पहले प्रोजेक्ट में. We did not discuss anything about the store. I want to add the store details so that जब हम Power BI में एनालिटिक्स करेंगे और SQL जब सीखेंगे तो we'll see कि हम स्टोर का इंफॉर्मेशन भी कुछ एनालाइज कर सकते हैं. Alright, so the dim store will contain all store details and again it will not have any repeated values. So one store will have only one record. Dim analyst. Again, this will store all the analyst IDs and their names, their birth year, their city, their gender, their country ID. All of that will not be repeated. So one analyst will have only one record. That's why dim analyst, dimension table. Dim city, again, it will have all the city names and they will not be repeated. Now you see that dim analyst is then connected to dim city. So dim city is a dimension table created on dim analyst. So we'll talk more about it. What basically this means is कि ये हमारा एक snowflake schema है. So you'll have a dimension table और dimension table की खुद के dimension tables होंगे. So in that case, dim analyst में अगर तुम देखोगे तो gender, city ID and country ID this will be repeated क्योंकि so there will be multiple male analysts, there will be multiple analysts from the same cities and there will be multiple analysts from the same countries. So your gender, city and country can become their own table and that's what we did in dim city, dim country and dim gender. Alright, so hopefully this is a good revision. Now what we're going to do is let's take a look at our data. So now the first question that you should ask is कि ये टेबल ये डेटा आया कहाँ से. Okay, so to answer that let's go to our data architecture. This was one of the first videos which I created created in the SQL playlist, and let me open that. Okay, here. If you see this, if I scroll this up a little bit, if you see this, credit insight application एक जो सॉफ्टवेयर है उसका एक डेटाबेस है credit insight database. Then you have human resource application or a software which stores their human resource related information in their application database called human resource database. Similarly, CRM, store, all of that will have their own database. And then ETL process will extract information from these different databases. Okay, so हम ETL process तो नहीं सीख रहे because it will be out of scope for our data analytics. So now, so think about it कि ये जो जितने भी tables है ना वो अपने अपने database से आया है, application database से आया है. So analysts will come from human resource database. Application will come from credit insight, cities, countries, maybe from their own respective application database. Outcome will probably have their own database, or it may be a subset of application data coming from credit insight applications. Okay. Similarly, store will come from the store database or store application database. All right. So let's take a quick look. So if I open analyst, so all of this, think about it कि ये जो tables है ना जितने भी कहाँ गया, I keep switching screens. Okay. So ये जो जितने भी files है ना, think about it कि ये ETL के process से extract होके इस folder में आया है, and this will come every day. Every day ETL process के help से these files will get landed on this folder. ठीक है, और ये फाइल ये जो इसके अंदर जो कंटेंट है वो हमको डेटाबेस में डालना है. सो लेट्स लुक एट आवर फर्स्ट टेबल कॉल्ड एनालिस्ट. सो एनालिस्ट टेबल में एज आई पॉइंटेड आउट इन द रिवीजन, इसमें एनालिस्ट आईडी होगा, फर्स्ट नेम होगा, लास्ट नेम होगा, जेंडर होगा, बर्थ ईयर होगा, सिटी होगा, कंट्री होगा. जो चीजें डुप्लीकेट हो रही है ना उसके आईडीज है, क्योंकि इसका जो डिटेल है वो अलग डिमेंशन टेबल में है. जेंडर, डिम सिटी, डिम कंट्री. Alright, some might argue कि भाई birth year के लिए भी बना लो. Well, technically you can create a year table, that's fine, but we'll not get into that. Sometimes I think I might be not wrong, but कोई database में अलग table होता है जहाँ पे date year के table होते हैं, but I might be wrong, I'm not sure. But ये project में जरूरत नहीं है इसकी. Alright, so you see one ID, one analyst, one report. There won't be duplicates here. Okay, so this data, analyst data, will be fed into which table? Of course, it will go here in dim analyst. Alright. Similarly, let's look at application table. Now, application table मैंने update किया इसके अंदर data. जब हमने पहले project में Excel पे काम किया, Excel के dashboard पे काम किया, so we had roughly around 6,417 records in that data. और वो कब से था? जुलाई से आई थिंक अगस्त तक का था पूरा. व्हाट आई डिड वाज आई एडेड दिसंबर तक का डेटा. ओके, सो दैट्स वन चेंज आई हैव एडेड. दैट्स ये क्यों मैंने ऐड किया, क्योंकि दैट्स व्हाट प्रोजेक्ट 2 एंड प्रोजेक्ट 3 विल कवर. कि जब रियल लाइफ में डेटा जब बड़ा होता है, डेटा जब बढ़ता है, तो एक्सेल में काम नहीं हो पाएगा. एक्सेल विल स्टार्ट फ्रीजिंग, विल स्टार्ट नॉट रिस्पॉन्डिंग, विल स्टार्ट क्रैशिंग, एंड देन उसमें बहुत सारे मैनुअल इंटरवेंशन होते हैं. सो आई वॉन्ट टू शो थ्रू प्रोजेक्ट 2 एंड प्रोजेक्ट 3 कि एक्सेल से हम कैसे आगे बढ़े. ओके, द सेकेंड चेंज आई डिड वॉज आउटकम. आई थिंक इन वन ऑफ द एसक्यूएल वीडियोज अर्लियर मैंने आउटकम को आईडी दिया था 1 2 3. 1 वॉज अप्रूव, 2 वॉज डिक्लाइन, 3 वॉज विड्रॉन. आई चेंज इट टू A for approve, D for decline, and W for withdraw. That's the reason why I did it, because 1 2 3 makes no sense. समझ में नहीं आता कि 1 2 3 क्या है. So I changed it to A D W. That is more intuitively makes sense. Okay. Similarly, I did the same thing for QID. QID पहले 1 2 3 4 था, so I changed it to letters. So CP, B for consumer post bureau, C for consumer existing, all of that. Analyst ID, of course, we have a different table, dimension table for all of these: outcome, queue, and analyst, store. And then, of course, you have messages. And ideally, we expect credit analysts to put some message whenever they are withdrawing or declining an application. So all of this remains the same. पहले project जैसे ही है, but then I have added the data. Okay, let's look at cities. So cities will have, just waiting for it to open. Okay, Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, and all of that with their own city ID. Okay, then let's go to countries. Again, these are very simple tables. India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka with their own country ID. Then you would have gender. Again, we have, I think, male, female, others not specified. Then you have one more, I think, outcome. Yeah. So remember outcome A, D, W. That's what it is. A for outcome, D for decline, W for withdrawal. Then you have Q. Similarly, for Q, C, consumer existing, CPB, consumer post bureau, and all of that. And the last table is our stores. So store will have store ID and their name. Okay. So now that you have seen all the tables, next video में what we will do is we'll start implementing this entity relationship diagram. इससे क्या होगा जब हम इसको implement करेंगे जिसको forward engineer kind of concept बोलते हैं शायद MySQL में. So when you do that, all of these tables with their primary and foreign key relationships will get created. And then we can start importing our data in their respective tables. We'll see that in the next video. All right, bye.